In 507 BC, democracy did not arrive in Athens as a calm philosophical idea. It emerged from fear, faction, and a desperate struggle over who would control the city. Athens had already lived through tyranny, noble rivalry, and political instability. Now another power struggle was pushing the city toward a breaking point. At the center of that crisis stood a man who, at first glance, hardly seems like the obvious father of democracy. Cleisthenes was not an outsider or a revolutionary from below. He came from a powerful aristocratic family. He understood exactly how elite politics worked in Athens, because he had grown up inside that world. And perhaps that is why he saw something others did not. If Athens kept running on old family loyalties and aristocratic networks, power would always return to the same few hands. His main rival was Isagoras, a leader of the more reactionary nobles. When Isagoras gained office, the contest for Athens intensified. This was not just a disagreement over policy. It was a fight over the future of the city. Would Athens remain a place dominated by old elite networks, or would something radically different begin to take shape? Then the crisis deepened. Sparta intervened. King Cleisthenes I, known for interfering in Athenian affairs, backed Isagoras. For a moment, it looked as though the old order would be restored with Spartan help. Athens might simply become another city whose fate was decided by powerful men behind closed doors. But that is where this story becomes extraordinary. The people of Athens did not simply watch. According to the ancient tradition summarized by Britannica, Cleisthenes allied himself with the popular assembly against the nobles. The political struggle spilled beyond aristocratic circles, and ordinary citizens became the force that transformed the outcome. This is one of the most dramatic things about the birth of Athenian democracy. It was not handed down peacefully from above. It took shape when a wider body of citizens entered the struggle and changed the balance of power. Once Cleisthenes had the chance to act, he did something far more radical than simply passing a few new laws. He began to redesign the political structure of Athens itself, and this is the detail people often miss. His genius was not just that he spoke about equality. His genius was that he understood the social machinery of elite control, and he set out to dismantle it. His most important reform was to shift political identity away from clan and family and toward place. Britannica describes this as basing political responsibility on citizenship of a place rather than on membership in a clan. That sounds technical, but it was revolutionary. Before this, aristocratic families and inherited ties helped determine a person's place in politics. Cleisthenes attacked that old logic at its root. He was, in effect, telling Athenians, your political life should not begin with your bloodline. It should begin with your membership in the city. This reform was tied to another bold move, the reorganization of the entire citizen body into 10 new tribes. These tribes were not based on old descent groups. Instead, each was made up of elements drawn from across Attica. Britannica notes that the new tribal system mixed the wider region, breaking older patterns of political grouping. In simple terms, Cleisthenes was redrawing the political map so that entrenched local and family alliances would be harder to preserve. That is what makes this story so fascinating. Cleisthenes was not only expanding participation, he was deliberately making it harder for the old aristocratic order to dominate Athens in the same way as before. Democracy, in this early Athenian form, was not just an ideal. It was also a weapon against monopoly power. It was a system designed to break inherited influence and weaken the grip of elite patronage. He also reshaped the council system. The old boule was replaced by a council of 500, with 50 members from each of the 10 tribes. This helped connect the new tribal order to the daily workings of government. Athens was becoming less like a city ruled through old noble structures and more like a political community with broader civic participation by male citizens. Another important reform involved the demes, the local districts of Attica. In Cleisthenes' reforms, these demes gained real standing in both local and state administration. Males aged 18 were registered in their local demes, thereby acquiring civic status and rights. Again, the deeper significance is easy to miss. Citizenship was being anchored in local civic enrollment, not merely in lineage. That was a major shift in how a society understood belonging and power. This is why Cleisthenes matters so much. If Athens is often called the cradle of democracy, Cleisthenes was one of the people who built the cradle itself. But he did not do it by making a sentimental appeal to fairness. He did it by redesigning the architecture of power. He took a city threatened by faction and foreign intervention, and he answered not with a stronger tyrant, but with a new political structure. And yet, this story comes with a hard truth. Athenian democracy was groundbreaking, but it was not inclusive in the modern sense. The civic status created through the dems applied to male citizens. Women, slaves, and resident foreigners were excluded from full political participation. So even at its birth, democracy in Athens was both astonishingly advanced and sharply limited. That tension is part of what makes the story so powerful. In Athens, democracy did not begin as a perfect system. It began as a bold and incomplete answer to a crisis. It was born from political conflict, shaped by fear of elite domination and built through institutional imagination. Cleisthenes did not create modern democracy in full, but in the middle of a power struggle that could have ended in renewed oligarchy or outside control, he helped turn Athens toward a new idea that the city should not belong only to the few. So when we look back at 507 BC, we should not picture a quiet moment of noble agreement. We should picture a city in crisis, old alliances under strain, Sparta interfering, factions colliding, and one aristocrat realizing that the only way to break the old game was to change the rules entirely. In that crisis, democracy took shape,